She decided to leave. They got into a fight. He got caught up. Now, here's the interesting.
ULG 2015. Woo! Okay. Everything's alleged, including our motherfucking name. That's right. That's right. Where my new news at? Where my new news at? Watch it. Mr. Dave. Come on. You said no more. City B. My new news. Yeah. That is so with my money. That's before we get in. He mad at me too. He gonna say something. It was him. And the spill. And so, when he came back during the trial, because he was subpoenaed by the grand jury and due to testify against Cassie, I don't know if they used his testimony or not, because his lawyer, and he's going to explain that more, Tyrone Blackburn, we told y'all about that nigga, okay? Tyrone Blackburn apparently, I guess, told the judge about the book that he was writing. Cassie, I guess, let me get the name of the book real quick so I can make sure we got it right. So the name of the book is Victim or Co-Conspirator, okay? And so he was due to testify, and apparently, I guess, the lawyer, Tyrone Blackburn, has it out for Diddy. He has other clients that are suing Diddy, and so he kind of needs Diddy in jail because Diddy gonna come back and sue his ass if he don't go to jail. Ended up submitting a motion and ended up getting the book removed from Amazon that Dave was writing, or that he wrote. And I don't think they used his testimony at all, because he was planning to testify against Cassie, because he, according to him, was with Cassie over 10 years and was one of the main guys that she called for the freak offs, okay? And apparently she trusted him. And so, is Dave ready? Dave, we need your camera on. Let me text. Okay. Dave, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
I do, but you breaking up. There you go. Hey, Dave, your internet, man. Where you at?
Listen, I live in central New Jersey in the woods. The internet is horrible out here, but I'm making it. I'm surviving.
Okay, cool. All right. Welcome. Finally, we got a face.
Welcome.
To the voice.
It's been like a year and a half. I like the fact that you approached what happened before. That was smart. Thank you.
I had to, because I knew you was gonna get in my ass. So I was like, let me go ahead and put it out there. Because you were one of the first ones to reach out, and you trusted me, and I did not leak your identity. You saw that, but it was the voice. Yes, it was the voice, and you were upset about that, because you were like, Tasha, you should have did that. But I was just like, I got thirsty winos. They want to know.
And they got a right to know. People deserve to know the truth. You're right about that.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, I'm glad that we're both here. I wish it was in person, but we had to make it do what it do. So you were subpoenaed before the grand jury, of course, in the Diddy case.
I was. Let me help you out, though. I want to correct a couple of things, because Tyrone Blackburn is a lawyer. He will try to sue you. So he's
don't know
me. You're about to know me too. So what he did is Tyrone was aware that I wrote this tell-all memoir about Cassie since January of this year. But I think he thought that I was playing. So, I contacted him like, listen, man, I'm a victim. She did some things to me that that I'm trying to file a civil action for, and I believe the story should be told. So I entertained the fact that I was going to write this book. I started writing the book, but I really didn't finish until he told me that Douglas Wigmore insulted me and called me a dirty sex worker. And Tasha, I got pissed. You said I can curse, so I can say this. I got so pissed because I'm like, hold on. This bald-head white man calls me a dirty sex worker when his client is the one who pulled off the condom and initiated unprotected sex with me? Oh, hell no. So I finished the book off. So now when I finish the book, Tyrone says, yo, you cannot release that book. If you release that book, it's going to be favorable to Diddy and he might get off. I said, listen, man, I'm going to release the book. It's my story. I'm going to release the book. So now Diddy's team subpoenas my records for the book. What Tyrone does is he submits what's called a motion to squash, which is to squash the subpoena so he doesn't have to turn over the book. And he lies and tells a federal judge that the book is actually privileged notes for the lawsuit that's going to be filed. And that's a complete lie. I gave him a separate statement of facts, and I also had a 90,000-word manuscript.
Go ahead, slow down. Okay.
Yes.
Slow down because you were breaking up just a little bit. Okay. So you said he filed a motion to squash. He didn't want the book
Correct.
released. He didn't want the prosecution or Diddy's team to have your book.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So
how did
he
they
filed
find
the motion to squash. Because I was going to release it. I had put an Amazon pre-link, the one I sent to you. I had an editor who was contacting people. I believe my editor contacted TMZ. He might have contacted you also. He contacted a few people to get me before a podcast because I want to tell my story and it promotes the book. So when Tyrone saw the Amazon link, he realized, oh crap, this guy really did write a book. That's when it became a problem. And so like I was saying, Diddy's team, I believe it was what's the attorney's name? The one that did the Young Thug trial, Brian Steele. Brian Steele. They subpoena the book. Tyrone contacts me maybe, I want to say, the second week of May, saying, listen, they subpoenaed your book. They cannot get that book. I'm going to submit a motion to squash. I said, well, why can't they get the book? The U.S. Attorney's Office knows that I've said all of this stuff about Cassandra. It's not like it's new stuff. They know. I've been telling them for a year. He says, dude, that book would destroy her. I said, well, if I have to give him the book, I want to give him the book. He says, all right, let me take care of it. So I find out maybe, I think it was like May 17th, May 15th, that he submitted this motion to squash, where he completely lied to the judge, Summarian, and he claimed that my book was actually privileged notes. Now, that's a lie because the book is not privileged notes. So the judge orders him to turn over the manuscript. I believe I contacted him a week after I found out the judge orders him to turn over the manuscript. And I asked him, I said, hey, did you turn over that manuscript? He said, hell no. Why would I do that? Are you crazy? No, if I turn over this manuscript, you're going to blow this case apart. I said, Tyrone, listen, I don't want a problem. Turn over the book. My phone dies. So now when my phone starts back up, I sent him a text message. Listen, brother, I don't want a problem with a federal judge. I'm going to release this book. Turn over the manuscript. I don't believe he still turned over the manuscript to the defense.
And I remember you reaching out because you said, hey, I'm getting ready to write a book and I want to do an interview. Yes, I do plan to testify in favor of Diddy because you were, according to you, the main one that Cassie called for almost 10 years of the relationship. And so...
That was correction. 8 years, because I don't want you to be sued for anything. 8 years she called me.
8 years, okay. And so maybe I got 10 years because they were together 10 years. So I'm just kind of stuck on how long they were together. But I know it took some time for him to warm her up to doing freak offs and things like that. And so, the judge had ordered too, because we were getting ready to do your interview and help you to promote your book and stuff like that. But then the judge said that you guys couldn't speak to media at all.
Exactly. And so I can't speak to media. You've heard my name mentioned probably a dozen different times in this trial. I'm in the actual freak off. Several of the videos, unfortunately, are me covered in baby oil in a room with Cassandra Ventura. I have no clue why they not called Daniel Phillip. Daniel Phillip and I were in an orgy with Sean Combs. Okay.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
He went out for a second.
Yeah, you said Daniel Phillip?
Daniel Phillip. I met Daniel Phillip in an orgy at Cassie's apartment in one of the Trump buildings in Midtown Manhattan. I believe it was 2011. That's where I met Daniel Phillip in an orgy where I was called by Cassie to have a sexathon. And basically, the goal of this sexathon was for one of us to last the longest. Whoever lasts the longest was going to become her main boy toy. TashaK, I see your face. This is the truth. So for 2 days, myself and Daniel Phillip, we participated in this sexathon, Sex and Cassie. Daniel Phillip hung in there, but I think it was a Wednesday morning, actually. I think the morning of the wrap up of the thing, he finally couldn't participate anymore. Not because something's wrong with him. He had been up 2 days. He's back to back having sex with her. He was tired. So he couldn't perform anymore, but I still could. So I finished her off. I end up winning. Diddy comes out the room after he carries her in the other bedroom. He pays Daniel Phillip. Daniel Phillip leaves. He comes to me. He tells me out of his own mouth. He says, listen, she said you're the best penis she ever had in her life. Wow, really? He said, yeah. He said, yo, she wants you to come back. She just needs some time to rest. I said, all right. Now, I had been there 2 days, Josh. I needed to go to work. I was an optician. I don't even think I was escorting anymore at the time because I only started escorting because I was in prison. I got released. I had a great body. I was good with women. So someone hired me to be an escort. So maybe a year or two into it, I stopped. I got a job. I was an optician and I was trying to get my life together. I didn't have time for that. But Cassie paid me so well. It was kind of like a no-brainer. Beautiful woman, $5,000 every time I got to break it down. What? 30
Rico said during our interview last week that the pay was $5,000.
5,000. I only got less than 5,000 one time, and that's the time Diddy drugged me. He gave me $1,500 to go home because I was completely drugged out of my face off something he gave me. But every other time I got 5,000. The time with Daniel Phillip and winning this orgy, I think I got like $11,000 in total from winning the orgy, then coming back and dusting it off again. I had an extensive history with Cassie. I see your face. You're like, oh my God, yeah.
How many hours did you go?
Oh, the longest I ever had sex with was 4 days in Miami. You gotta put your glasses on.
Okay, now hold on for a second. So when you have sex for 4 days, do you stop to pee? Do you take breaks? What happens?
Yeah. It's kind of like, you know, something people don't realize something. Diddy is rich. He's as rich as a king. I don't know if you've ever seen the HBO TV series Rome, like where there was with the Julius Caesar series Rome that they had years ago on HBO.
No, but I'm sure my husband has watched it. He watched all them type of shows. But
HBO had a series, and in this series they had like Cleopatra, Mark Antony. They were smoking opium. They had a bunch of slaves in there that she was sleeping with that had larger members than Mark Antony. This is what a freak off really was. I was made to be completely naked, baby oil, and basically kept on standby for every time Cassie needed to come. And I would be called to make her come. I didn't have to eat her vagina. I didn't have to kiss her, even though she kissed me, which is disgusting now that I know she was letting people urinating her mouth. But this is the whole point of Oh my God, man. Oh my God.
Keep going. You are an excellent storyteller, and we look forward to this book. I'm gonna give you a week's worth of promotion on this book across all my platforms. That is on me for keeping your word, for coming through here, and for dropping this wine. We are going to heavily promote. Get his ass on the roster. Go ahead, keep going. Okay.
I promise you, I would tell you the truth because that's what this is about. You know, Diddy might have did a lot of bad stuff. He's horribly abusive to women. We all know this. This is his track record, but he does not deserve an unfair trial. And if there's evidence that says that Cassie's involved, they should not be holding that to make her look like this holier than art thou battered woman. He was abusive. He was abusive, but he wasn't abusive because she didn't want to have sex. That's the exact opposite. He was abusive because he would catch us having sex behind his back. She would emasculate him about his penis size because he's not that big. She would always get smart with him. And Diddy, from what I saw, Diddy is although he's incredibly successful, he's incredibly insecure. His ego is on everything. He would compete with me to try to sleep with Cassie better than me while he was paying me to do it, which was insane. An example, let's say I'm having sex with her. She comes, she's laying in the bed. She's like, oh my God, shaking. I usually would get up and stand off to the side to let him watch her react to coming. He would jump on top of her right after and try to have sex with her, I guess, to make her come again. Now, I'm 3 times larger than him, I would probably say, just off a glance. I never had a sexual relationship with him. I need to say that because you have
Keep going.
in a room with this guy for 8 years. So it's like playing on basketball. When you're walking around with people in the basketball team, you're going to see things you don't want to see. So unfortunately, I saw Sean Combs' member. It's not big. So I believe Cassie when she said, yo, listen, my husband has a small penis. I'm hiring you because you can satisfy me. He likes to watch. I had absolutely no reason to doubt that she was telling the truth to that.
Did he have a micro penis or something?
It just was small. You know, he big pockets, little member. That's just what it was, man. He big pockets. You know, and women don't care. No disrespect. Women don't care when you got a lot of money. Listen, you got a lot of money. We can get around it. He got enough money. She was a young, horny girl. She liked to have sex. And this was the arrangement. He took her around. They would have these freak offs because she was into the swinger lifestyle. She tried to take me to strip clubs. She invited me to swinger parties. She would talk to me about the lifestyle and how her and Sean like to sometimes get together and get with other couples. So I was completely dumbfounded when I heard the fact that she was saying she was made to have these sexual relationships. And I'm like, when? I saw you being forced. I never saw you being afraid. The only time I saw you afraid is when he would catch you nutting behind his back when you told me to do it. So what are you talking about, you know?
Nutting behind his back. So which means like,
good example. I remember a situation, he got a phone call. So the rules of these freak offs or swinger parties was if he's watching as a voyeur, we can't do anything sexually when he's not there. And that's a basic trust issue between men and women who are involved in a swinger relationship. If you allow someone in your bedroom, you're expecting that person to follow the rules. It if you're dealing with a couple where the man is consenting to you sleeping with his wife, the man is in control of that situation. So if he doesn't want you to do it, you can't. That's just the swinger lifestyle. And anyone who knows about the swinger lifestyle knows I'm telling the truth. If you've gone out and got someone in your bedroom, let's say for your husband, even if the woman likes the guy, she still has to defer to her husband because when that man leaves, you still got to live with your husband. It's common sense. So this is what Cassie would do. She would defer to Diddy just to make sure he was okay with the fact that she was giving me head, that she might want to keep having sex. And Cassie was insatiable. Diddy never made her have sex with her. He never insinuated, yo, why don't you take some D? He never said that. She would go, she would tell him I'm ready. He would say, okay, you can start. He would watch, but he would be more of a protector. He would make sure nothing happened to her. He was incredibly protective of her.
They didn't put you or Rico on the stand.
No, because they knew we were going to say that she was complicit. And it's nothing wrong with her being complicit. He's still guilty of sex trafficking. Like, look at all the stuff they're exposing. In order to be guilty of sex trafficking and this Rico that they're charging him with, he basically just has to know about it, have benefited in some way, and financed it, which he clearly all did by booking rooms in the name of Frank Black. Mind you, I've checked into Frank Black rooms probably 15 times. Every room I checked into from Miami, LA, New York, I checked in under Frank Black. So I can verify that. The abuse, I physically saw him assault her at least 5 times. I can verify that. I got her pregnant. She told me I got her pregnant to my face. Let's see. It was a lot. I have no reason why they did not call me, other than the fact I released that book, and they were afraid that if the fence got to me and they started asking me about Cassie, I was gonna say, yo, listen, no, that didn't happen. He didn't do that.
And yeah, as a millionaire, as anybody, you can't solicit prostitutes and pay them. Like, it is against the law, and it carries a long time. It's kind of it's teetering the lines of being a pimp, you know, and they take that kind of stuff serious. And even though girls are, it's crazy how the pimps get more time than the actual prostitutes. Like, I feel like they have to do some changes when it comes to the laws behind that, because if girls are choosing to have a pimp, and the pimp is there to protect them and ensure that they're not getting mistreated during their, I guess, encounters with men and stuff like that, and they have to pay the pimp for protection, because, like, how's he going to make money? I don't know. I just feel like, to me, even though, yeah, he did all this shit, but I feel like the feds, they love a big cash out. 400 million is at stake that they're going to seize. I don't even think he'll have money for an appeal. They're going to have to go straight for a pardon. And then they'll be able to keep all of that. The Justice Department will inherit $400 million that was, I guess, made off of sex trafficking or illegal criminal crimes using his organization, bad boy records and all that stuff. And meanwhile, they get to retire off of that money. And it's like, why can't he retire? Why are you allowed to retire off of money that you say is made illegally, and y'all get to use it to pay federal witnesses and pay for y'all retirement as well, too? The money should be burned, right? Nobody should get the money.
True. And it should definitely go to the true victims. Some of the male prostitutes that this has happened to I'm in law school. I completely changed my life. I was a male escort 15 years ago. I went back to school. I'm trying to get a law degree now. So this coming up at this point in my life is incredibly embarrassing, but I realize it's something I have to deal with. So when I actually started looking into what I was involved with this whole RICO and sex trafficking thing, considering I studied the law, I started reading the statute. I read a bunch of cases, and I realized that the primary witnesses in sex trafficking cases are usually like drug addict women that were prostitutes, they robbed men, etc. But they're usually always the crux of the government's case. What the prostitutes say are pretty much what is verbatim, and that's what gets a convicted. Look at Diddy's case. Look at how all of the male escorts, prostitutes, whatever you want to call them, are pretty much telling you Cassie's involved. Why are they not listening to any of us? They literally throw our faces out there, our information's out there. They're not trying to protect any of us. They don't give a damn. They're throwing us out there. They used us for material, and then they literally just left us out to be left just to the wolves and to the media. They would have never did this to women who were caught up in the sex trafficking ring. These
they
prostitutes.
Do protect them. They do protect women.
They protect them. I got people contacting me online. You're showing these videos. My name is coming up in all of the transcripts. I had Tisa Tells. Oh my God, Tisa Tells makes the most slanderous, defamatory video on me. She says that Diddy flipped me as a schmex worker. Diddy never flipped me. I haven't talked to Diddy since 2019. I've been a cooperating prosecution witness the entire prosecution. How could you make up a podcast claiming that Diddy flipped me? Diddy never flipped me. I'm not talking to Diddy. I'm telling the truth. Now, because I'm telling the truth, and you're advocating for Diddy to go to jail because you build a platform of making him look like a complete piece of crap, which he actually is, you don't want to put anything out that says that Cassie might be complicit. You want to keep making Cassie look like a victim. Cassie's a victim of domestic violence, Tasha. We can't take that away from her. He did horrible things. I saw him two-piece her in the chest, and if you don't know what that means, that's a 1-2 punch, a jab, and a right hand. I saw him hit her like that and knock her across the room. I saw him kick her. I saw him grab her up. I saw him pull her by her hair. I saw him push her. He was abusive to her, but it wasn't because of sex. It was because he's an abusive man, and they were in a toxic, drug-fueled relationship. Their emotions are going. They're high off drugs for days. He's getting jealous because other guys are piping her out, and she's enjoying it. Even though he's letting her do it, he's still getting jealous because these other men are giving her more pleasure. She argues with him. He doesn't know how to deal with it. He hits her. That's not him forcing her to have sex.
So what was the hotel video about? Like, they said that there was a freak off going on then, and they're saying that he pulled her back in the room because he wanted her to finish, and that he had paid the sex worker. But I did hear, and I can't remember if it was testimony or not, or just, blogs talking, because, I'm not following the case every day, because, we've been talking about Diddy for years, and so this is just kind of overkill at this point. It's overkill. But like, I was told that she had took his phone or something like that, and he was trying to get his phone back. And so what was that? Did you know the specifics of that particular freak off and what happened?
I don't, but I have something to say about that. From what I've read about that freak off, they were with another guy, Jules Theodore. Now, Jules, if there was a male escort in the room, why didn't that male escort testify to the fact that Cassie was trying to escape? Here's what I believe that guy would have testified that the argument was not because Cassie was trying to escape the freak off. It was probably because she was jealous because he was texting other women from his phone. Because I saw her get like that. She would watch to see who he was texting. She was his girlfriend. She gets jealous. He's a billionaire and he's a hoe. She know he got a bunch of girlfriends. She know he don't want her. So of course she's on a stance where she has to make sure that this guy is not cheating on her. She wants to know. So they probably were in the room. She went through his phone. She might have saw something. She thought he was texting a woman. She decided to leave. They got into a fight. He got caught up. Now here's the interesting part. I heard during this trial when I was watching that about 3 weeks after, they had a freak off in Miami with me. These are the texts that I heard. Now they have this fight. She gets beat up. She has to recover. A couple of weeks later, they decide to have another freak off. She tells him they need to change the energy. They need to change the person. The next thing they do is fly to Miami. They call me. How is this someone who's being sex trafficked? And she clearly tells you we need to change the enemy. Then she calls the same guy, because this was what, 2016, 2015 when he beat her? By then I was sleeping with her 6 years, 7 years by then. She deliberately calls me from New York to have sex with her in Miami 3 or 4 weeks after he beats her up in his hotel and is making her have sex. Make it make sense. She's lying. She was a part of this. They were fighting probably because he had a woman. She didn't like that. He beat her up. She got over it, because the truth is she wasn't loving. She was extremely in love with him. She talked about it all the time. She wanted to have kids. She wanted to get married with him, which I thought was weird, because I'm thinking, you're letting me slut you out, but you want this guy to marry you? How is he supposed to respect you? But I never asked questions, Tasha. They're paying me. It's not my job to ask questions. It's my job to satisfy. So that's exactly what I did. That's what I have to say about that assault, though. I think that assault, I think they were fighting over his phone. I think she got mad. She tried to leave the room, and the male escort in the room can verify it. That's why he didn't testify. Because it makes no sense why myself or Jules Theodore, the two escorts they mentioned the most and the longest, haven't testified. It's probably because we're going to testify against Cassie, and they don't want that.
Well, why didn't the defense team call y'all?
I don't know. I can only assume that they might not know what I intend to say, which is probably the case. They don't know that I intend to say, listen, he did beat her. He did the things that they're saying, but she was involved also.
So it's just safer to just leave you off because you may end up doing something.
Exactly. And I can kind of understand that. Listen, it's safer. We don't really know what this guy is going to say. It's safer to just leave him out. But I know why the government's not. I know why the government's not calling me. They don't want me to say what I'm going to say about Cassie because they know it's all the truth.
Were you in love with Cassie?
Absolutely not. You can't be in love with a woman who is basically allowing herself to be slutted out. I want to say that respectfully. When I first started sleeping with her, I'll be honest, I had an emotional connection to her. I had an emotional connection to her the entire time. I can't lie. We had unprotected, drug-fueled hot sex for years. There's no way I could develop some type of feelings for her as a person. But I can't say I was ever in love with her. I knew she was Puff's. I knew she was addicted to the money. I knew she was addicted to the lifestyle because that's the only way a woman can stay in a situation with a man that's punching him in the chest and be okay with it. And I didn't want to go through that. I'm a 90s baby. I always remember the R. Kelly Down Low video where Ronald Isley took him out of the desert, beat the crap out of him for dealing with his girl. I don't want to be that with Puffy. So I'm not trying to take Puffy girl. Okay, Puffy, this is your chick. You like to see her get slutted out. I'm going to slut her out. You're going to pay me. I'm going to go about my business. That was it.
I heard that she had quoted and said at one point when they were like, why don't you leave Puffy? And she's like, well, who would I go to? Jay-Z is taken.
Yeah, she like, think about it. Puff is destroyed now. He's destroyed. He'll never be back where he was. But at one point, Puff was the man. It was a privilege to go to a Puffy party. It was a privilege to go to a white party. She's dating Puff. Puff is one of the most powerful producers in the game. Women have been using men to boost their careers for decades, for eons. And she's a 19-year-old girl. She has this super producer, businessman that likes her. He's into her sexually. Of course, she's manipulating him like he's manipulating her. He's manipulating her. She's letting him manipulate her by use of her vagina and trying to manipulate him into things she wants. I personally think she just wasn't as good as Young Miami. Young Miami leveled up off Puff in that short time she was with him. Cassie was with him a decade and had a Jaguar and nothing. I don't understand how that is other than ambition and really on her. She can't really blame him for that, for things that she didn't do. And that's another thing. I'm going to say that because there were times where I actually heard him ask her about her music. Like, yo, you made music? What you doing? What you doing with yourself? Oh, I'm chilling right now. I'm looking for inspiration. And I heard this from her for years that she wasn't doing anything. He would ask her, he'd be like, yo, you play it. You don't want to do nothing. But why should she have to do something? She's dating him. So she was comfortable. She didn't really need to do that. I totally believe that she allowed herself to get into a situation where she got drug fueled, where she got lazy, and she lost track of herself because she got involved with this guy who got her in. And I do believe he got her into things. She might have been a hoe, but there's no way a 19-year-old girl knows about the swinger lifestyle like the way Cassie was playing. Somebody introduced her to that, and I totally believe Puff did it.
But Puff did. I mean, he talked about it on a reality show of his. Said he didn't want to get married because he was into the swinger lifestyle, and so he's always kind of been upfront about that. So. But he said 75% of the time you're gonna have the best time of your life with me. The other 25%, I'm gonna beat your ass and you're gonna hate it. But they kind of knew what came with that. And so, do you know, being that you was with her for so long, how did Alex Fine get in the picture?
I believe he was hired to be her personal trainer, which makes perfect sense because the only way anybody would have got close enough to her to build a relationship is if Puff gave the green light. I got close to her because Puff gave the green light. Nobody would have got close to her without the green light. So Puff hired this guy to be a personal trainer. Cassie's dope. I'm not even gonna play her as a person and say like, she's a liar. She's an excellent conversationalist. She's very intelligent. She's easy to be around. So her and this guy probably was working out. He started realizing she was damaged. She's a beautiful woman. Why not date her? He starts dating her. They hook up. The rest is history. Which I'm happy for that. She deserved to be happy. She always wanted kids. I remember when she and I actually had the whole pregnancy scare. She was actually really disappointed at the fact she had an abortion. And so was I to an extent because I had no kids. But look at the situation. I'm the male escort that your rich ex-boyfriend paid to bust you down. Now you're gonna have a trick baby. So I totally understood the fact why she did it.
Baby, not a trick baby.
Trick baby.
That's That's a new one. I gotta use that. I'm gonna have to take that one. Bitch, you got a trick baby. Oh my God. Now, when we spoke the last time, you said that Puff had called you for Young Miami.
I believe it was Young Miami. I don't want to be wrong because I believe it was like 2019, but I believe he called me for Young Miami when he called me in 2019. And that's probably where you got 10 years from because I actually knew Puff for 10 years, from 2009 to 2019. Okay. When is the last time he called me? He's like, yo, what's up? What you doing? I was shocked. I hadn't heard from him since 2017. I'm like, whoa, what's up with you? He said nothing. Y'all want to see if you want to come to Miami. We want to know what's good with you. So I'm assuming it's them. I think it was around Christmas too, because it was December. So I'm like, yo, I got any Christmas gifts? This is free money. I could bust it down. I'm gonna wear a condom, because at that point I would never sleep with her unprotected again. I had found out she burned me with chlamydia, and I believe it was like 2015 or 2016. Yeah, man. I found out about that. So I stopped sleeping with her unprotected. Like, I started wearing condoms. I refused to not wear condoms anymore. But I would have still went to sleep with her as long as I wore a condom and was paid. I was like, you know what, you can probably handle it. Discussed it, whatever. I get down there. I go meet him in this hotel. I get to the hotel. He's not there with her. He tells me, I got another young lady here. She's nice. You're going to like her. Go to your room. Go chill. I'll call you later. So I'm like, all right. Bet. I was a little disappointed, because at that stage in my life, I didn't really believe in just sleeping with completely random women anymore. So it was kind of gross. I remember I had an ex-girlfriend who lived in Miami at the time. So I called her up. We went to dinner. I ended up spending the night with her. Totally forgot about Puff. Woke up the next morning, look at my phone. I got a million texts from this guy like, yo, you played yourself. I fooled you here. Where you at? I'm like, oh, shit. Puff is mad at me. Okay. I call him up. He's like, yo, come up to my room. I said, all right. I go up to the room. I said, listen, I was with my ex. I show him a picture. He's like, yo, she's nice. You want to stay? I'll pay. I'm like, dude, no, you're not taking my girl. Absolutely not, dude. Absolutely not. I ain't dumb. That's Puff Daddy. I can have the biggest.
She would have been gone. She would have been gone.
Big penis. The only thing that get around big penis is big pockets. She would have been going. I knew. I'm like, no thanks, Puff. No thanks.
All right, cool.
He tells me, he's like, yo, she's in Miami. His girl in Miami on a photo shoot. And I was like, who is that? So when I looked at my phone and I tried to figure out what was going on, I saw that this girl, Miami, was in Miami. It was in Hawaii. Like, I think there's something before, so I figured it's her.
Damn. There was one sex worker. He did an interview. He ended up, I guess, trying to kill Trump. Did you see that interview with that sex worker?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, he said that he got paid $5 million because he contracted herpes.
Did he? From Cassie? Did he? I believe him. He's the one who, when I saw that interview, I knew that the things he was saying was the truth. Because I didn't see Jonathan Odie's interview until 2021. And when I saw it, he said I was a sex slave for Cassie. It was like, oh my God, this guy's talking about my life. This was me.
He was making this shit up because he was like trying to kill Trump, and then he comes out with his interview talking about, yo, I was a sex slave, and we looking like, what? Where the fuck did they get this dude from? Like.
Yep. But at the time, he was younger. He was more attractive. Just like me. I'm older now, but at the time I was bigger. I was younger. I was more attractive. It was easier if you were in that lifestyle and you had a certain type of body, the physique, the chest, the arms. It wasn't really hard to be noticed by the right people. So I got noticed by Cassie, and that was pretty much history.
So, Jesus Christ, how did Cassie Walls? I know I'll never be able to ask her this question, but her vagina walls.
I'll be fair to her. I don't want to make myself. I don't want to make myself sound like I'm trying to aggrandize myself. But I used to, when Cassie and I would have sex, I would probably take less than 20 strokes to make her orgasm. I never orgasm really, because the problem was the fact that she's not tight and the baby oil. The baby oil was a problem. The baby oil kind of made sex impossible for a man to enjoy. The baby oil made a loose vagina, looser than it needed to be. So it was literally like a constant. It was like being in hell, being constantly tormented, like I was going to have an orgasm, but never being able to have an orgasm because she wasn't tight enough to make me orgasm. But she's orgasming back to back. I mean, I'm in her 20 strokes. Oh my God, she's squirting all over the bed. And then I'm like, yo, can I get something? Oh, I need a second. I think there was a period where I had sex with Cassandra, and this is the truth. I don't think I had one orgasm in 6 months every time I met her. It was so bad. I used to leave her and go out around Miami to bars and find women to sleep with just to have an orgasm, because I'd be sleeping with her for days and not have orgasm. It was like the worst situation of blue balls a man could imagine.
You said 20 strokes and squirting?
Yeah, definitely. And this was for years.
You retired? You said you retired?
Yeah, I'm retired. I've been retired for.
The white hoes are like, why? Why is he retired?
Not an honorable profession, especially if you're trying to do it. And the craziest part, my mother was actually a minister.
Oh gosh, y'all are the men and the women that come up in the church, and y'all be the biggest hoes, like for real.
Yeah, so it was kind of embarrassing too. It definitely was. I had to get out of that. It's never something I would do again.
That is absolutely insane. Because I was just wondering, I was like, her walls, like, and then baby oil has fragrance and stuff in it. I'm like, I know she had, and she talked about it in court, like she couldn't get rid of the bacterial infections and stuff like that. They were just so reoccurring. Antibiotics didn't work.
How do you think I feel hearing all of this disgusting stuff that she's saying in court, especially being urinated in her mouth? Like, she asked me to urinate on her. I said, you expect me to have sex with you after I piss on you? That's gross. I'm not doing that. And she was like, you don't like that? I'm like, no, that's nasty. But who would want to have sex with you after urinating? She said, no, it's something I really enjoy. Tasha, she explained to me why she liked being pissed on. She told me she likes the warm feeling of urine running down her body, this nasty chick. And I thought that shit was disgusting when she told me that. I said, you serious? But the way she explained it, I knew she was telling the truth. So I said, listen, shorty, I can't pee on you. That's not for me. But I will have sex with you. And clearly, I'm going to have good sex with you. She said, you know what? You don't have to do it. She stopped. They used to collect my semen in the cup. probably for a year or so, I wanted to say it. So I actually started orgasm inside of her. Then they stopped asking me because she just started telling me, like, come in. I was stupid. I was young. I actually believed that because I beat Daniel Phillip, I was her only boy toy. So I thought the pussy was clean. And I'm just slaying it. Every time she's telling me, I'm straight making deposits.
Why would they collect your semen?
I didn't know. I thought it was weird. I complained for a few months until finally, I want to say it was maybe a year and a half in they were doing it. I watch a lot of forensic TV, so I would get scared. I'm thinking he's using my DNA to try to set me up, some crazy shit. And I finally flipped out on him, like, yo, listen, I'm not giving y'all no more cum. Y'all taking my cum, y'all going to the next room. Like, what the hell y'all doing with my cum? It's creeping me out. She told me that she used to drink it because he liked to see her play with semen. I said, you can do that in front of him. Yeah. But she told me that encounter, she would never ask me again. I said, okay. And she never asked me again. Instead, she started asking me to come inside of her. And I was foolish. I did.
Look at this out here. So hilarious.
What's the name of the book?
Cassie, Victim or Co-Conspirator. The story of Dave. Because the story of Dave is the truth and it needs to be told. She's not a victim. She's a victim of domestic violence. She deserves justice for that. She definitely does. I think she got justice. She got $20 million worth of justice. Shorty straight. But to lie and say he forced you into this sexual whole innuendo of swinging and depravity, that's a lie. You're only doing that so you can reestablish yourself and gain back the hold'em. Everybody knows because most of the people in the game know she was a hoe. I know things about her now that I know the situation's over. She was sleeping with people for years. The only way she can absolve that former whole activity is to say, Diddy made me. I'm gonna give you an example. She testified in the trial. She said that she was made to have sex with male prostitutes on her period. Tasha, that's a lie. She sexually assaulted me and forced herself on me on her period because she was mad. I didn't want to come to LA and I was with my girlfriend for my anniversary. And I know this because she told me. It's in my book. You can read it. She flies me to LA. I get to LA. She's pissed off because I chose my girlfriend, my real life girlfriend, over this R&B singer dating a billionaire who I have absolutely no chance of securing and holding. I'm not stupid, but I'm in a committed relationship. But basically, I needed her money, so I had to make the decision to forego my anniversary or be fired by Cassie and fly to LA or stay with my girlfriend. I sold out. I chose the money, Tasha. I flew to LA. I get to LA maybe 1 o'clock in the morning at the Beverly Hills Hotel. I meet her at the Beverly Hills Hotel. These freak-offs were always so ritualistic. I mean, there was candles throughout the room. The furniture would be covered. There would be like a platter with Astroglide and baby oil, and then another platter with like Ciroc, which is crazy. I never knew. Deleone, water, things like that. This time I went there. This one time, the entire living room was dark, which I thought was weird. Basically, in this encounter, what she does is she keeps the room dark so I can't see the fact that she's menstruating. She kind of seduces me into thinking that we're going to have sex regularly because, again, I don't know she's on a menstrual cycle. She gets on top of me. She grabs my member. She inserts it in her because she's already wet. She's on her menstrual cycle. She orgasms real quick. And then I push her off of me, cut the lights on, and it literally looks like the St. Valentine's Day massacre. It's blood everywhere because she's heavily on her period. So I'm pissed. I'm like, I said, why would you do something like that to me? This is disgusting. Tasha, the girl is totally shitting on me. She's like, so what? So what? And she's arrogant about it. So Diddy's sitting there watching it. He's her man. He's her protector. I'm getting more and more aggressive. I'm calling her nasty bitch's. I'm pissed. He says, yo, you know something, bro? You mad cool. It's been like 6-7 years. I'm not going to lie to you. She knew she was on her period. She just really wanted you to come here. You see how we was calling you. You see how she demanded you come. So she had sex with you. He was like, yo, what's wrong? I'm going to give you some money. Calm down. Let's not do this. We've been seeing each other too long. He really used to try to be immediate. I'm not going to lie. He goes in the room. He gets me like $5,000. He comes out. He gives me $5,000 to stop arguing with him. Tasha, I stopped arguing with him. He says, yo, go check it in your room. He gives me a key for my suite in the Beverly Hills Hotel. I take my 5 cash. I go to my room. I go to sleep. I wake up the next day. She calls me that night. She apologizes about the night before. She says, listen, I was drunk. I'm on my period. I was horny. You really disappointed me by the fact that you didn't want to come. And she said, yeah, what I did was wrong. I'm sorry. I should have told you I was on my period. She totally apologized. So how could you get on the stand and tell the stand that Diddy made you have sex with me when you know for a fact that I know that that's a lie?
Totally in shock.
Yeah. I don't want to say I feel bad for Diddy because I know the women are going to destroy me, but I kind of feel bad for him because he's not totally being lied on, but his bitter ex-girlfriend.
You didn't smell it? You didn't smell the period blood?
No, actually, I got to be fair. Her vagina never stunk. Never stunk.
All that fuck is she doing?
Never stunk. Never. Maybe she kept herself clean for me. I don't know, but she smelled like lavender every time I touched her. She never stunk. Never. Never.
Did he call you for the other Jane Does, or you only just serviced her?
Only her. I never met Christina Corum. I never saw any of the staff. I was meticulously hidden from sight because I was specifically hired to service Cassie. I think the only person.
So let me say this: y'all were pretty much all 3 of you guys in a relationship.
Kind of, yeah, with him being the supervisor, yes, with no homosexual activity. Let's make that clear.
He never tried to.
Oh no, he did try, but nothing ever happened. He tried me. I want to say he tried me once.
Back up. Wait a minute. What do you mean? You're saying that Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, tried to what with you?
He didn't try to what with me. He tried to psych me out in the fucking hip. I don't want to blow up my whole book, but I'll tell you basically what happened.
They're gonna buy it anyway. They're gonna buy it anyway. Don't worry. We got a whole week worth of promotions. Just give me that motherfucking link. We support up over here. Go. We ain't even dropped this bitch on YouTube. Wait till we drop the bitch on YouTube. See, I wanted you to be able to say what the fuck you wanted to say without YouTube burying the shit.
And I thank you for that. Thank you very much. Yes.
Anytime. That's what we over here for. Okay, so Diddy tried to do what to you now during the freak off?
Okay, so in I want to say it was 2015 or 2016, I fly to Miami to meet them. I think it was March 2016 because I think it was Ultra Weekend. There's like a huge festival that goes on in Miami for the music industry every year.
Okay.
Flies me out there. I go meet them at the one hotel, the SLS. That was the hotel I met them at. I meet them. They're in this penthouse suite overlooking the Miami beach. He's high out of his face. He's rolling. I think he's high on ecstasy because I can see his eyes rolling. He's high out of his face. I and Cassie go out on the balcony. I'm naked. Cassie's naked. You know, we're both in amazing shape. He's like, yo, y'all motherfuckers look good. Yo, you look like a god. And he's doing all of this complimenting, which was weird because I'm like, dude, I'm naked and I'm standing naked with your girl. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Long story short, Cassie had some sense. She's like, listen, you are two. No, you got to go inside because paparazzi watches. If they catch a glimpse of me with a naked chocolate man like you, I'm going to have a problem. She brings me back inside the suite. She goes into the master bedroom to get ready for the freak off. So while I'm waiting in the living room, Puff pulls out the piano seat. He sits at the grand piano behind the door and he gives me a joint. So, you know, he and I are sitting there smoking a joint. He says, yo, you got any kids? At the time, I had no children. He was like, yo, what you doing with yourself? So I told him I was in audition school. I was doing this, you know, basic bullshit conversation. So he sits there and, you know, he's like, I can tell he wants to ask me something. So I'm like, yo, what's wrong with you? And he says, yo, you know, nah, never mind. I said, yo, just speak your mind. Like, what's wrong with you? He was like, yo, so are you gay? I said, what? Where the fuck did that just come from? Why would you even ask me something like that the way I'm busting your shorty down? So I got angry and I start cursing him out. I'm like, yo, you're a freaking weirdo. So I'm going off on him. Cassie comes out. She's like, yo, what's wrong? I said, yo, this guy just asked me, am I gay? Like, what type of shit is he on? So she looked at him and she was like, don't pay him no attention. He's high. And she laughed it off. So I'm thinking, you know, whatever. I'm still going in on him though, because I believe strongly that he asked me because he wanted to see if I was going to sleep. So I still kept going in. The thing about Puff is he doesn't like negativity. He'll give you money to shut up. So I'm going in on him like, yo, what's wrong with you? You gay or something? Why are you asking me, am I gay? I ain't never gave you no sign I'm gay, dude. You don't catch me looking at you. I damn sure don't want to see your penis. I'm going in on him. He goes in the room, comes out with a wad of money, throws it at me. Shut up about that shit. Okay, I shut up. You know, it don't take too much to get me to shut up and pay me. Fast forward to the freak off now. So now he wants to have the freak off. He wants the voyeur. He wants to watch. He tells me and Cassie to go in the bedroom. He commands her to lay on the bed and play with herself. He directs me to stand up to the corner and masturbate while we have the baby on and watch, because that was the setup. The freak offs would be in stages. The first stage would be like a soft foreplay where she and I was made to sit back and masturbate and watch each other and kind of build up the passion and the heat of the situation. The next phase would be her giving me fellatio. Things like that, the touching, that's when he would allow us to touch. The third phase would usually be the intercourse. And the intercourse would usually be the final stage to climax. When she climaxed, and she always used to climax before me until we started using the excessive amounts of baby oil. And then that would usually wrap up that session into another session, which would probably be 20, 30, no more than 30 minutes later because she was high and she would need to do this. So during this encounter, he calls me in the room. She and I are in stage one. He's watching me. I can see him watching me through the corner of his eyes. And, you know, it feels weird, but I'm trying not to pay attention to him. I'm focusing on the woman. She looks great. It's not hard to stay focused on her. All of a sudden, he jumps up and he starts to act like he's, you know, going to eat a vagina, which he never did. Never. It had been, this was 2015, I think it was. I saw him for 6 years. I never saw him eat a vagina. But this day, he gets up and he buries his face in her vagina, eating a vagina. But now, here's the thing. While he's doing it...
You busted in her?
No, I didn't yet. No, we hadn't had sex yet. But while he's doing it, he tells me to keep masturbating so she can watch. Okay, no problem. So now I'm watching her masturbating, but he's eating out her vagina, shifting his anus in my view. So it's distracting me because I can't see her vagina. I can see his anus. So I'm like, what the hell is this? So I'm gonna let you finish your spin.
Okay, go ahead.
So I see what he's doing. And at first I didn't realize what he was doing. I just got annoyed. So I moved to another side of the bed. I believe I moved to the right just so I would be at an angle to see past him. He waits maybe 2 seconds. He scoots his ass back in front of my view. I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing? So I'm getting mad. I'm like, what is this guy doing? So I moved back to the left side of the bed. Sure enough, a couple of seconds later, he does it again. Finally, I said, yo, what's wrong with you, man? You blocking my view with your ass. Can you stop? And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. He got up, gets back in the seat like he's going to start his voyeurism again watching. And he tells us we can go ahead. She says, can I get some dick? He says, yeah. So I jump on her to go have sex with her. She and I start to get involved in a sexual encounter. He says, stop. Let us talk for a second. So now I have to leave the room. That's the order for me to leave the room. Okay. I'm outside. I'm gonna be honest. I was already involved in sex with her, so I was hard. You know, I'm kind of horny. I'm like, you know what? Let me just get it out, so I'm not standing here all hard dick looking like an idiot when she come out here. She comes out and catches me whacking off, and she starts laughing at me. She's like, yo, you gotta go. I'm like, I gotta go. Why? And she's like, yo, you gotta go. I'll see you later. She's like, yo, you passed though. And I said, I passed. What do you mean I passed? She was like, yo, you passed. She gives me a big hug. She kisses me. She says, yo, you passed. When I call you later, it's going down. I was like, all right, whatever. I left. I started walking around the strip. I didn't really know what she was talking about until probably later that night when I thought about it. Why is he doing that? Because he was trying to entice me to make me think that his asshole was the same as her vagina. And he was hoping that I might have been high and did it, but I wasn't. So that's the only time he propositioned me. Well, I feel he propositioned me because he definitely did that, hoping that he could manipulate me into possibly sleeping.
What's the name of the book again?
Cassie, Victim of Co-Conspirator, Story of Pain.
Okay. Anything else you want to add before we wrap this up here?
No, Tasha, I want to thank you for allowing me to finally get this out before the public.
Anytime.
It has been a nightmare, you know. Like I've been living here in my name. I'm not allowed to tell my story. People are creating narratives that are not true. I might have been a male escort, but I wasn't nasty. I didn't sleep with women unprotected. Cassie she conned me into believing that I was in a monogamous, exclusive relationship being paid because her boyfriend had a small penis. I saw her boyfriend had a small penis. Why would I think she's lying? I didn't know she was sleeping with 30 or 40 men. So I'm not the nasty one. She's the nasty one because she was tricking all these men into unprotected sex, into whatever she was doing, and now she wants to claim that she was being forced. Absolutely not. So I'm thankful to you that you allowed me to tell this story because Cassie is not a victim of sex trafficking.
Don't you worry. It's going out next week. Winos, thank Dave, okay? Because Dave was one of the first sources to come to us and give y'all this exclusive first. I'm sorry that the other platforms are not being courteous. And that's why we are getting a lot of the guests on our platform because, we're not, yeah, we have our opinions, but at the end of the day, your story is your story. We don't get in the way of that.
Well,
Yeah. So,
I noticed you don't lie on people, and that's what I like about you. You don't lie. No.
And like I said, the phone lines are always open for y'all to come on down and correct some shit. And so it is what it is. But thank you, Dave. Victim or Co-Conspirator is going to be live on victim or co-conspirator.com. That's victim or co-conspirator.com. And I'm going to say that one more time, victim or co-conspirator.com, written by Dave. He was a male escort to Cassie and Diddy for 8 years. Okay. And so, yeah, we will be in contact. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you so much, Tasha.
All righty. Bye-bye. I don't even know what to say. There's not too many people that let me take my mushroom extract complex. I need something to give me energy. I don't even know what to say to that. Give me a minute. Put the music on so let me reset the energy here so we can get into the other topics. Okay? No. Drop the link. I want to hear what the winos got to say. That was so much. Listen, the link is in the chat. You're going to have to take the link. I don't know if they'll be able to directly click on it. Shay, can they click on links, the winos? You sure? Because last time they had to take it and copy it and put it in another browser to call in. We got to get a phone line, too. It's like yesterday. We got to get a phone line, put it on speaker. I have to hear y'all thoughts on this. I do. I just have to. I'm going to give y'all a few minutes and then we'll get to the... How long we been live? Okay. Do y'all want to call in on... All right. Put the link on the community board, Jasmine, so they'll know. Okay. Put the link on the community board. Yep. Put the link on the community board. I have to hear from y'all. I cannot just ignore that and go into another topic. We may have to move our wine to Monday, y'all, because this is just so much to digest. It's too much. It's too much. I don't think he said he used protection every time. He said he started using protection after he got chlamydia. Hacked Demery's iCloud account, giving Desiree unfettered access to Demery's digital data, including text. It was staging
into this pickup truck with people she says she didn't know.
I can ride with you and you guys take me?
You're gonna be in handcuffs? The dog's not gonna be able to come?
I don't want to be in handcuffs.
Okay.
Getting doctors to sign off on shit. And there's a paper trail. And the doctor say, and the daughter is saying, let's just pray it ain't true, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Please, guys, if you like this video, keep your subscriptions. We did decide at the end of the show that we are going to run upcoming trailers. Recently filed against Demery's husband, Javon, she somewhat admitted to hacking Demery's phone. Desiree filed screenshots of text messages between Demery and Javon, but failed to adequately explain how she acquired them. She put the case number in there with the evidence. Now, The prosecutor in Javon's case noted that the oddity of Desiree's ability to provide private conversations between Demery and Javon that dated back to 2017. How did you get messages from your daughter's phone and her husband's phone dating back to 2017? This is all according to the daughter. And she provided proof as well as lawsuits that her mother filed against her with the shit. Now, the victim is very concerned with this conduct of her family. The victim found a tracker in her luggage and believes she was followed to the SAO when she came in for her pre-file statement. When the victim came into the SAO, an attorney for the witness also appeared, inquired with the receptionist as to the whereabouts of the victim. Did you hear what I just said? So she knew that her daughter was going to file a complaint and allegedly sent someone to follow her to go to the office to ask if she was there. As explained below, Desiree used illegal bedroom recordings, stolen iCloud data, and other names during her conspiracy to fraudulently convince people that Demery needed to be unlawfully committed to a mental health institution and drug rehab facility under Florida's Baker Act and Man-Made Act statutes. She used the same information to get Javon, her husband, falsely arrested as well. Desiree threatened her daughter, threatened to Baker Act Demery. Now, Desiree's first time threatening to commit wrongfully Demery to a mental health institution occurred September 14, 2023. That day, Desiree lured Demery to her home in Pinecrest, Florida, under the false pretense that Demery's uncle needed to be taken to the hospital, which was untrue. Demery rushed to her mother's home and was confronted by her mother for an intervention. As seen below in the snippet of police report, Desiree admitted to having an intervention for Demery and that she hired a counselor named Victoria Hunter. When I tell you this gets so crazy, there's a part in here where Desiree and her husband, Demery talks about it, gets a job from the company called, that she's suing, Iconic Creative. They give Desiree they give her daughter a $65,000 salary. And then they had her work long hours, work more, trying to, according to the daughter, create a separation between her and that boy that she's married to. I'm sorry, man. You know, I'm older, so I call it a little boy. And there was one moment where they were staging, according to her, fake meetings. And so one meeting was staged with a Nike representative whom Demery thought was a Nike representative. Turns out it was a marriage counselor. When she looked up the lady's profile, she had no affiliation to the company, didn't work for the company at all, and was in fact a marriage counselor hired by her mother. That's why she's suing the company that her mother owns. Now, all of this to say that in Demery's, I guess, opinion and everything that she's gone through with the false police reports and hospital reports and getting doctors. She has about 6 doctors here. Hold on. Let me get these doctors. All in Florida. So, okay, it's 4 doctors. So she has about 4 doctors. One's name is Clay Weaver. He's a chief executive officer for LCSW. Daniel Bober, DO, director, of operations, a medical director. Andrew Spady, MD, psychiatrist. And Catherine Manley, LMHC, a chief operating officer. All of these people signed documents against Demery to Wendy Williams her. Now, I know y'all are thinking like, Tasha, this is just her daughter. Maybe it's true. But when I tell you that what's documented here is so well documented that if a prosecutor wasn't bought, because, Demery claims that her mother has, strong relationships with prosecutors, especially in the Southern District and Eastern District of New York, that if a clean slated prosecutor was to look at this, what Demery is alleging here is no doubt, and she put it in here, okay? Hold on for a second. She put all the arrests in here, a violation of the Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Organizations Act, or RICO. Because if she can get doctors, law enforcement, judges, everybody to sign off on this, this is a crime. This is an organized crime. Like, this is what Diddy is on trial for. Everything that she's connected to, Desiree, all of the wealth that she's gained. Do you know Diddy's wealth of $400 million is up for grabs? They're going to seize it if he's found guilty of RICO, because they're saying that he accumulated this money by being a criminal. So they're going to seize it. The Department of Justice is going to seize it. This is what her daughter is alleging and put diligently in this lawsuit. And Desiree has been trying to get it thrown out. But when she decided to come to the news, the white people news, and the white folks picked it up, Desiree knows how powerful media is, because according to sources that I know, apparently she's came after black media, even so much Milagro, because when you look at Milagro's case with Megan Thee Stallion, because Megan is signed to Roc Nation, that's filed in the state of Florida. Megan and Milagro are residents of Houston. And it's filed under the cyberbullying law, which means they're going to be able to use this law to get her erased off the internet. And if they successfully do it, they have case law proving and making it easier to get a lot of media erased off of the internet. This ain't got nothing to do with them getting a defamation verdict. They know that girl ain't got no motherfucking money. This has everything to do with a narrative. And so it's also being reported as well. Do you remember during the Tory Lanez case? His father came out and blamed Rock Nation and said that they conspired, that Tory is a political prisoner. When the vice president, Kamala, and Joe Biden showed support to Megan Thee Stallion, out of all people they could have showed support to, and Tory conveniently got convicted and got more time than pedophiles got, the dad came out and screamed a cry, and people laughed at him and said, oh God, no, and blamed Rock Nation for conspiring to take his son down. This is all documented. All I'm saying is, even though she's the face, well, Jay-Z is the face of Rock Nation, she runs. If this is remotely true, and they can connect the dots that there's doctors on payroll, there's police departments, or there's federal prosecutors on payroll, and they're using Rock Nation to do these things, Jay-Z got a bigger problem than Diddy. And she's already, and let me be honest with you, like, for her daughter to claim that Desiree don't like the nigga, and it has everything to do with them being broke. You know, maybe your mother just feels like she should have someone richer. You know, all of this, right? There's so many different scenarios we don't know. All I'm saying is that if this is remotely true, and her daughter is putting the pressure on, and it's always somebody closest to you. When you read The Art of War, it could be your mama, it could be your daughter. When you're most vulnerable is when you fall. And I just feel that with Desiree's past and things that she has been accused of, convicted of, I don't necessarily think she's going to be the one to fall here. I think that there's going to be some deviating. There's going to be some finger pointing, and Jay-Z will likely fall if an investigation is launched. Because we all know the pattern. Once lawsuits like this get filed and prosecutors get bored and they start reading, and maybe she's pissed off the wrong person, this is when shit gets lit. And him making his last public appearance for niggas and moving to the UK, what are you running from? I hope it's not true, Desiree. And like I said, your team is you know, our platform is open for you to explain your side. But like, if I were a prosecutor, I'm gonna be honest with you. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And I think anybody that just listened to what I said and what that daughter said will say, okay, Wendy Williams is getting the same thing done here. Britney Spears. Who's going to be the example? You're trying, according to your daughter, to force her into a guardianship. And if you can prove that she's been abused or she's crazy or anything like that, you can request a judge to look at the case and determine whether or not she should divorce him and pretty much call the shots. Why would you want to, like, I mean, think about this, y'all. Think about it. Tech at Rock Nation, cloning phones, getting doctors to sign off on shit. And there's a paper trail. There's a paper trail. And the doctor say, and the daughter is saying, let's just pray it ain't true, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Please, guys, if you like this video, keep your subscriptions. We did decide at the end of the show that we are going to run upcoming trailers for what's being shown on TashaK Live. Because we noticed that a lot of times you guys don't know what new movies are here or what new movies are streaming on other platforms that we have licensed. And so at the end of the show, Jasmine's going to show trailers, no promotional products or anything like that, just so you know and you're informed. And so Tubi is free to you, and so is TashaK Live because you pay for it, okay? And so, yes, I did want to forewarn you guys about that, so you don't think, it's supposed to be ad-free. And it's like, well, how are we supposed to tell y'all when we got movies out? And so thank you guys so much for the support on the last interview. I think it's now trending number 5, if I'm not mistaken, on Tubi. It has risen 2 places, so y'all did that, and y'all are already asking for the second movie, and Shek is writing it. And so Shek, that's Shek's movie. All I did was give me a line. Okay. Action. And a little shay. And a little shay. So yes, that had nothing to do with me. That had everything to do with Shek and his great writing. And my husband's been doing movies for almost 22 years, and so this is his dream. This is his thing. This is what he does. I do commentary, and I'm really good at marketing and sales. Okay, and so yes, and I love you guys so much. I hope you enjoy both shows, part 1 and part 2. If you're here, you haven't seen part 1, go back and watch it. So yes, you said this is definitely organized crime, Haiti. Yeah, it's a lot going on. It's a lot. And so let's just hope Jay-Z is clear of all this, because a lot of times, with my colleague Carlos Watson, they tried him and they tried the company. So, I mean, is Jay-Z gonna snitch on Desiree? Is Desiree gonna snitch on? What's it gonna be? I just know, like, when you. Thank you so much, Monty B. Yeah, it's going. You said AI wrote that movie. AI did not write that movie. My husband wrote that damn movie years ago. The fuck? Okay. Let me see. Ad free, but the trailers will be updated. Yep. Okay. Alrighty then. So listen, I love you guys, and I will see y'all Wednesday for some White Wine Wednesday. Okay. Now I gotta go get my motherfucking haircut. Bye. We got this invite from this woman who thinks her husband is possessed by demons. I'm not sure about this one, y'all.
Are you kidding?
When the last time we covered a story like this, Tasha?
Diane Johnson's cabin.
I'm so relieved you guys accepted my invitation to come. Something to drink, maybe some tea or coffee.
I would do wine, Miss Diane.
I know how you like your wine, but I need you fully alert for the story I'm about to burden you with. You're the chosen one. God came to me in my dreams and revealed it all.
I don't know about this, guys. Like performing an exorcism on this lady's husband just because she feels like he's possessed.
This is messed up.
This is a real life event that we happen to have the exclusive.
Yes, Tasha, we gotta help. I said we could do a family vacation. All of us on fire.
And we would all be dead right now. For this to work, you must have all skepticism out your mind. Robert, I know the real you is trapped. We're going to free you tonight.
What brings you in, Travis?
Say something to me!
I'm sorry.
Better question. What are you going through?
We're not fucking Travis. So what do you do for sin?
It's called life.
Life?
All right.
What's up, T?
I can't find any groundbreaking stories. This stuff is like Groundhog Day. Nothing new has came up. I do have a few.
When we start the show, keep it clear.
Okay, but you know the rumors out there, right?
I don't give a damn about the rumors.
About Shorty. Can anything be traced back to you? I mean, I do help with little things here and there. Like what? With your paying rent?
Look at it this way. We are getting older and not so attractive, more so you than me. What better way than to pull the wool over your eyes than sex?
So, what the fuck happened again? The bitch sent me over the trans and I didn't even know it.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
So is it true?
The blogs and an unending desire to ruin our relationship.
So why is that picture of you and some bitch in a hair salon, Travis?
I said, I'm gonna go in the clay room. Now, mind you, when I'm in this clay room, I said, this nigga come in here in the next 2 minutes, fully dressed, tell me to go, he's gay.
Is this true?
How you gonna ask me something like that?
Everybody talks to somebody.
Know where I'd be without you.
I don't know where you'd be either.
An eviction notice? What the hell?
Okay, so I'm the source of all of our problems or something?
I've been here less than 5 minutes and problem. Where's Malcolm? Malcolm, where's my money?
I have noticed you're behind on the rent. Is there anything I can do to lighten the load?
Lighten the load? I'm calling to let you know that you are out of line.
Check your Cash App.
What? You're not gonna do it, are you? Tanya.
Not the time for jokes, Steve.
Malcolm!